Hey guys, Beyond7Day here, and here's a seasonal roundup for winter 2016. I watched 9 anime titles, and I'm gonna rate them as 7 since Beyond7Day. Also, this is unscripted, so things might get a little awkward. Well, let's begin. 9 anime titles, everyone. Okay, let's start off with Ajin. Ajin follows the story of Nagaike as he runs away from the government who want to capture him for experiments as he is in Ajin. Ajin are humans that cannot die, which could come in handy in experiments for medical and military uses. Ajin are human-like beings that were discovered in Africa 17 years ago and are sought after by the government for experiments and research purposes. My thoughts on it now. Ajin's a pretty good series in my opinion, but the first episode wasn't that good as the pacing was awkward and I'm just not used to 3D animation. But the 3D animation grew on me and the story got better as it progressed. Nagaike, he's the protagonist. We actually don't get to see him for a few episodes. I mean, he doesn't get too much character development while he was hiding away in that village in the countryside. Kaito's my favorite character. He's the guy that helped Nagai in the first few episodes, and it was sad when he disappeared because I really want to see him more. I mean, I really need to see more character development from him since he's a pretty interesting guy. He's strong and he's not an Ajin. And speaking of Kaito, I remember reading a part that said, apart from another thing on the internet that said in the manga that he got into prison for being an Ajin synthesizer, and there was another Ajin in prison, same age as Kaito, and he decides to help Kaito. Sato's the antagonist. He's the old man, Samuel T. Anderson. Wait, no, Samuel T. Owen. I said Anderson for some reason. I don't know. Samuel T. Owen. Anyways, he's a military guy. He's an old man, but he's still got that killer instinct in him. He tries to kill Nagai, but that fails since Nagai just luck, man, just luck. Well, anyways, Sato's really extreme. He's a pretty effective killer, and he kills a destroys a pharmaceutical in the craziest way possible, which I'm not telling you. And he's also an entertaining character since he says, I play games on hard mode because it's more fun. Pretty interesting quote there. I also like the 3D animation when it comes to things like the IBM or the black ghost, since it gives the ghost a bit of a creepier effect. Oh, by the way, excuse the sound, it's not relevant to our conversation. Anyways, I also like the music since the theme sounds pretty catchy. Run away, run away. The rest of the characters, Ogura Iluya, he's the American biophysicist. He's an interesting guy. Overall, Ajin was a pretty good series, but I do wish that more would happen. I mean, Nagai could have gotten a bit more character development, and I wish they showed Kaito more. But all in all, it's a good series. I recommend you watch it. I give it a 5.85 out of 7 on the Beyond7Day scale. Alright, next title. Alright, our next title is Bokudake ga Inai Machi, also known as Erased. I really like this series. The ending could have been better, but still. Well, to the plot. The story follows Satoru Fujinuma, and he has this cool ability called Revival, which allows him to travel back in time to prevent a disaster. But this time, it sends him back about a few decades, like 2 decades, I believe. No, never mind. Back to 1988, where he has to prevent the murder of his former classmate Kaio Hinazuki to prevent the murder of his mother in the future. Anyways, Bokudake ga Inai Machi, it's really emotional. It almost made me cry, since I don't really cry that much. I like the character development. It was really nice. The plot was really strong. And the music's pretty good too. Like the opening, Riri by Asian Kung Fu Generation, really catchy. Really good song in my opinion, since Go Asian Kung Fu Generation. I like their work on the Naruto theme song, and so I also like their Full Metal Alchemist theme song, Rewrite. Oh, well, enough about me and music. Back to series. Now, I also want to talk about the title, since I don't understand. Bokudake Gainai Machi, which translates to the town where only I am missing, got changed to erased. I mean, many people get killed or disappear, so I kind of understand why it's called erased, but it just makes it sound like a cliche horror film. Enough about that. Well, Satoru Fujinuma, it was really interesting to see what he would do to prevent the murders, like kidnapping a classmate. And his mom too, his mom is very perceptive. She's really intelligent, but not intelligent enough to not get killed in the first episode, am I right? Well, that was kind of cruel. No, shouldn't. Kayo Hinazuki, she gets abused, physically abused by her mother. I like how this series goes deep into that subject and how to prevent it, and to see what happens about it, like what to do in it, like how Satoru just tells the teacher Yashiro Gaku, and the teacher's name is Yashiro Gaku. Sorry if that sounded awkward. What else? Oh yes, the mystery about the killer, it was pretty obvious in my opinion. I mean, I feel like they could have worked more on the mystery since it was way too obvious. And if you know what I mean, then good for you, since it was obviously the not telling you. Well, I really like the series. Episodes 1 through 9, in my opinion, were pretty good, but the last few episodes, not that good. Because, I mean, they were enjoyable, just not extremely good. Because the ending was kind of anticlimactic, but it ended well for everyone. I mean, everyone was happy. Even the killer was happy. He was smiling while he was in the cop car, which could possibly hint at something. Possibly a second season, maybe. I mean, the anime was a bit off from the manga, since it was only 12 episodes and they couldn't possibly summarize 8 volumes into 12 episodes. Am I right? Well, anyways, I just have really good things to say about the series. I also like the revival ability, which works when this magical blue butterfly appears and takes Satoru back in time. I mean, can you imagine how handy if you had that ability in real life? Like how I spilled coffee and then revival. Don't spill the coffee. That was a bad example. Well, anyways, Bokudake Gainai Machi, very good anime. I recommend you watch it. And if you don't like it, then I don't really with that. So anyways, Erase, I gave it a 5.8 out of 7. Still pretty good. Okay, next title. Okay, Divine Gate. Divine Gate follows the story of Aoto and his friends as they go to the Divine Gate, this magical gate that combines heaven, hell, and earth. In my opinion, it was a bit of a lackluster anime. I mean, it progressed fine. It was just lacking something that makes it extremely good. But it was still kind of entertaining. I mean, the fights were pretty good. Its backstories of the characters. I mean, everyone in this anime has, well, almost everyone has a depressing backstory. Like how Aoto got framed as a parent. Wait, he took the blame, so I can't call that framed. And how what was him? Akane, the fire guy. His father died. Well, I shouldn't say died. He just disappeared. And Midori, she lost her best friend. Well, her best friend disappeared by herself, but still. This anime is The opening's pretty nice, pretty catchy. Two hearts, one gate. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Um, these guys have powers that they're used in the drivers, which transfer the elements of either water, fire, wind, earth, light, darkness into weapons. Characters that interest me were the Knights of the Round. Basically, King Arthur, if you're looking at the poster, he's the guy in the back. The blonde guy in the back. Well, his hair's not blonde, he's a grayish blonde. Blah, no, irrelevant. The Knights of the Round were pretty interesting. I mean, they were named after the actual Knights of the Round Table from King Arthur. But it was sad when they just got killed off in one episode. Whoops, spoilers. Anyways, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that good. It was just alright. But it was alright enough for me to give it a 4 out of 7. Oh boy. I don't necessarily recommend you to watch it since some parts aren't that good, but you might want to give it a shot. I don't know. Your life, your choices. Okay, next title. Oh. The transitions are a bit fast, aren't they? Well, let's slow down the plot and continue. Okay, next title now. Awkward moments activated. Sorry. Alright, I seriously should move on to the next title. Okay, Durara X2 Ketsu. The final series for the second part of Durara. Oh wow. I don't know why they couldn't just do it in one season or one part. Well, anyways, Durara X2 Ketsu, it basically continues everyone's adventures in Ikebukuro, and if you don't know the plot of Durara, then search it up on Google. I'm just explaining it to you. Well, there are many different parts like Celti Sturluson, the Black Rider, she's finding her head, Shinra, the underground doctor, is in love with her, Mikado is the leader of the Dollars, Masaomi, leader of Yellow Scarves, Henri, girl with the sword, she's Saika, this sword spirit thingy. Then there's this serious rivalry between Shizuo Heiwajima and Izaya Orihara, and there were a few more characters that I could go through, but I won't because I'm a lazy guy. Well, anyways, I thought Durara X2 Ketsu was quite interesting. I mean, the opening, Stepping Out Tonight, was pretty good. And basically, it's good music right there. And now to the characters. I do wish that Mikado would have gotten a bit more development. Celti finds her head and stuff happens. And the most important thing in my mind is Izaya's fight with Shizuo. I mean, oh my god. I mean, Izaya survived getting thrown against the building. I mean, seriously, how tough is this guy? He said he loves humans, which means that he might not be human. Well, I'm not sure how he survived, but still. I don't want to spoil a lot of it for you, but still. Oh yeah, there's this character, she's the antagonist, I believe, Kasane. Kasane is also a Saika wielder. Oh, speaking of Saika, the last few episodes were basically sword zombie apocalypse. You get slashed, you turn into this possessed zombie. Well, basically that's what happens. It's really interesting to see how all of them snap out of the Saika trance. Oh, and speaking of final episodes, I also like how Masaomi just helps Mikado get out of his insane acts. I mean, I don't even know why Mikado decided to do the insane acts. He said this: I want my life to be interesting. I never want to be normal. And then Izaya from the first season said, well, he said in the first season, not from the first season, he said to get out of the ordinary, you have to keep on evolving. And basically, Mikado took that ideology way too far and did some insane stuff like dollars with blue squares. I think he. Oh wait, that's another gang. Don't know what I'm talking. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're obviously not. I was gonna say she shot the. Oh yeah, he shot Masaomi. Yeah, he shot Masaomi in the leg with a spy gun. Well, it was just like some parts of this series, and my review of it, it's really confusing. Like, just so many events piled up. Anyways, Dororo X Tuketsu, it's a fitting ending, but why did Izaya have to leave? Just why? Oops, spoilers. Well, anyways, it was a good series. I do wish that they'd continue the story more. Well, I know there's another Dororo manga for it, but I'm not sure if that's gonna get adapted. Anyways, I give this a 4.7 out of 7. Pretty good anime. I recommend you should watch it, but you should watch the other Dororo series first, since you're not gonna understand too much if you don't watch the other series. Well, next title. Alright, Dimension W. Dimension W was a pretty good series. It's got a really strong plot. And speaking of plot, I almost forgot to give you what the plot is about. Anyways, Dimension W, people draw unlimited energy from it, and it's utilized by using coils. Coils are like coils. That sentence made no sense. Anyways, coils help give people in this world unlimited energy. It's used to power cars, phones, all that good stuff. But the main character, Mabuchi Kiyoma, doesn't use coils. Oh no, he uses a regular phone and a car that runs on gasoline, since unlimited energy, everyone. Anyways, he's a hunter. He hunts illegal coils. And in the first episode, he gets knocked out by this kawaii robot who eventually becomes his sidekick-ish ally that knocks him out, and then big explosions, flashy stuff, and that's what happens in the first episode. Recollection problems here with me. Anyways, my thoughts on it. Dimension W is a pretty good series, strong plots, really interesting characters. A character that was really interesting to me was Albert, the blonde guy. Since I don't really know a lot about him, but he's a bit chilled. He's a pretty cool guy. And he's also part of Grendel, which is a special unit that carries out secret, dangerous missions. Yeah, that's what it was. The main character, Kiyoma, he's a badass, like Mugen from Samurai Champloo. I admit it, I didn't really watch Samurai Champloo, but I'm probably gonna watch in the future, since I just started being otaku, and everyone otaku for only 1 year right now. Well, anyways, I'm aspiring to be an otaku. Oh, back to the regular stuff before I ramble off. Character I liked was Loser. He's pretty fascinating. He's pretty cool in my opinion. But then the only thing that I didn't like about him is his backstory. I wished we would have gotten a bit more details about when he was still Julian Tyler, before that accident caused him to be deformed in the face and a few of his limbs, and he has a number of coils for life support. Yeah, I do wish he had a bit more backstory before censored because of spoilers. I'm not gonna tell you what happens, so you better find out for yourself, man. Anyways, it's a good series. I already said that. But then the last episode, how they just introduced a new villain without almost without any build up. I mean, we get a sense of who that villain is, but not that much build up to see who Haruka Seemeyer and how evil he is. We just find out how, like, a bit deraved he is, a bit unusual, shall we say the least. Another part of the series that I don't like is that I do wish Kiyoma used his car a bit more, since I like cars and badass chase scenes. Well, all in all, Dimension W is a pretty good series. I give it a 4.6 out of 7. Pretty decent score. Okay, next title. Okay, Fairy Tail Zero. Fairy Tail Zero, it was a pretty cool anime. And don't say it's overrated, it's my opinion, my rules. Well, anyways, Fairy Tail Zero just basically gives us background on how Fairy Tail started. How Fairy Tail as a guild grew, and how it was established by Mavis and her friends. Because friendship solves every problem in anime. The characters were pretty interesting, like Yuri, Warrod, and Prect, since they didn't use any tools before. They did use tools before they discovered magic. Kind of like what they did in Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter, sorry. Zera, she's a pretty important character to Mavis's development as a character in general. And something very important happens to her at the end. Not telling you what, because I don't want to spoil anything. There's also Zeref, black magic user. I actually don't know what to think of him. He's cool and not cool at the same time. I like him and I don't like him. It's weird. Well, there's the protagonist Mavis. I like Mavis's kind heart, since Zera mistreated her so many times, but then she still saves her from that disaster on Tenrojima. Kind-hearted character, and she's also pretty intelligent, but she's also arguably naive, kind of like Peter Parker, Spider-Man. It's fun anime series. I recommend for anyone who's about 13, since 13-year-old stuff thingies. The villains, like Joffrey, leader of Blue Skull, he could have gotten a bit more character development in my opinion, and we see him in the end, but I don't really know what happens to him. I think he sets up a great revolt against Fairy Tail, and then he fails. That's what they say during the credits. By the way, please excuse the background noises. Weird stuff. Fairy Tail Zero, pretty good anime. It's kind of bad that Fairy Tail's ending just after 2 years. After 2 years. Well, I know they're gonna get a new project, but I don't know when it's come. But better to have a hiatus than a filler hell, am I right? Well, Fairy Tail Zero is a pretty nice anime, so I'm gonna give it a 5.3 out of 7. Alright, next title. Musagen no Phantom World. Musagen no Phantom World follows Haruhiko, a guy that knows a lot of random trivia, and his harem-ish group, where they hunt phantoms, creatures that materialize into reality because of an explosion that happened, which caused people to see phantoms as manifestations of their imaginations. I don't know, I think that's how they explained it. Well, anyways, to be honest, this is pretty boring anime. Well, at first I actually thought it was actually going to be pretty good, but then it was just painfully boring. It was so meh. I even tried dropping it, but I was like, well, we all need to suffer sometimes. This reason why it's boring is that the characters don't get that much development, and they're not even that interesting. Haruhiko, he has the ability to summon phantoms, but he's a pretty boring character in my opinion. Not much development going there. The female characters such as Reina and Mai, they actually got some character development, but Mai is pretty boring in my opinion. Reina's alright. And Minase, like, every group needs a badass, and Minase is the badass there. But still, why? Minase is alright, just not that good. Not that good, but alright. Anyways, what do I have to say about this series? I mean, the trivia is alright, but I'm sure I could have found that information by looking into Wikipedia. And the episodes are just random. I mean, one episode they talk about cats, Schrodinger's cat to be specific, and then they move on to something like fireworks and hot springs. Yeah, pretty random in my opinion. There were some fights and there's some fan service, but even I don't think that was pretty good. Pretty boring in my opinion. Well, since I don't really have much more to say besides the music's alright, but it's just, why? A bit boring. Well, I give it a 3.9 out of 7. Alright, next title before I drag on too long. Haito Genso no Grimgar. It's basically a stuck in an RPG type of anime. There are different roles, and every day is a fight for survival. I'm not sure about if you die in game, you die in real life rule. Not sure about that, but still. Anyways, these guys are stuck in an RPG, and they don't know they're stuck in an RPG. And they have to figure things out by themselves. They also get like reminders of objects in the real world. They're like, wow, that looks like a plane. What's a plane? They don't actually say that, but there was a reference to a plane, I believe. Well, anyways, the characters are kind of bland in my opinion. They could have gotten a bit more development, and all we mostly see them do is use magic, fight, talk. Pretty boring in my opinion. The animation's pretty nice background art, a really good animation in my opinion, but the characters are still bland. The plot, basically the plot's about them grinding weak mobs for survival. Like, they go from goblins and they move to kobolds, I think that's what you call them. They're the wolf man-like creatures in the Cyrene mines with the rings on their noses or ears. Well, anyways, they just grind stuff, kill some beasts, and one of them dies and gets replaced. I repeat, one of them dies. Not telling you who. Something I also like about the series is the music. The music's beautiful. It's really nice music. The opening New Day is pretty good, especially with the marbles, and the artwork combined with it makes a really beautiful opening. And there are also AMVs. AMVs I don't really like. Wait, I don't think I want to refer to them as AMVs. It's just like a bit of a montage-ish kind of scene. And there's also music in the background. I don't think that was necessary. They could have used that for more character development scenes. The plot's pretty slow and dragged out, and this better get a season 2. If it doesn't get a season 2, then I'm gonna go to A1 Pictures and say thanks to them. Right after I slash on my giant sword. Get Moguzo. You know that bulky guy that pays attention to details, and he's a really good cook. Favorite character, pretty cool guy. Nothing else to say. I give this anime a 4.3 out of 7. It's decent, just not great. It was entertaining, just not awesome. Okay. That's all I have to say now. Bye. Okay, the last anime is Princess Bride Alternative. And since this anime was a little bit rushed, it's only fair if I rush this review or commentary on it. Nah, better not rush it. It's not slow and steady like a tortoise, am I right? Anyways, Princess Bride, it's like a parkour running anime. I thought it was really interesting since I never really seen any sports anime, and I never seen one on running before, so I thought this was pretty interesting. It's about a group of boys running, important event, teamwork, nakama, more teamwork, and that's kind of it. Anyways, it's made by Madhouse, but Madhouse was a little bit off on this one. I mean, it was alright, just not extremely great like Hytale against no Grimgar. Both series are alright, just not great. Entertaining, but okay, you get the point of what I'm trying to say. Anyways, I feel like this series was a bit rushed because the pacing was a bit awkward, but I'll give them kudos on animation and breathing sounds. I mean, they really got the breathing sounds down, like when they were running. And I also like many of the sounds they produced, like the voice acting, pretty good. The opening, pretty cool. It's just that I don't like the plot and the pacing. The last episode was a bit rushed, but I think it's a bit like a joke since these guys run fast, so therefore the anime must move fast, and therefore must be rushed. Oh, speaking of jokes, the comedy in this anime is pretty funny. Well, not extremely funny. Not like made me laugh so hard I had to get stitches. A comedy like gag I liked was how, what was his name? Oh, Takaru says a phrase from another team, and he's just like says the phrase, and this copyright guy police and said catchphrase thief, copyright police kind of thingy. Didn't describe it that well, didn't I? Deep breaths. Okay, let's try this again. Comedy gag I like was when Takaru says a catchphrase and this cop-like person just goes after him and says, "Copyright police, catchphrase thief." I thought it was pretty funny since I'm afraid of copyright. It's an average anime, not that good, but animation's pretty nice. So I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 7. Like I said, it's alright, just not extremely great. Okay, and that was the last anime, right? Yeah, it probably was. Right, next. Here's the spring anime I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch Mayoiga, Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress, Ace Attorney, Joker Game, Bungo Stray Dogs, 100, Boku no Hero Academia. A bit less than what I watched during the winter season, but it's gonna be good. And I hope I get better at talking after I watch the spring anime. And a bit better on what I'm gonna do, since I'm really bad at talking with no script. Well, I'm not the best talker. I'm an average talker, just not extremely good. I'm basically a decent anime level talker. Oh, I better not drag this on for too long. Baka! I am a baka. Okay, this is getting awkward. I better close the video before more awkwardness happens. Okay, thanks for watching. If you leave a like, then that's nice. If you leave a dislike, then I agree with you for leaving a dislike, because my talking skills really suck. And maybe subscribe, and my Twitter's in the description below, so please follow. Anyways, thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you the next time I make a video about what's gonna be cryptid files. Well, see ya.